Do you wanna know what's going round? See what's the talk of the town on Real Talk on the radio today.
And welcome to Real Talk Radio 97.5, KDWRadio.com, broadcasting from the Remax Palm mobile tower right here in Northport, Florida. But we are mobile today because I'm in Indiana. And I've got a very special guest, Madison, who I'm going to let introduce herself. But I want to send some kudos out to some people. I've got Joe Maria in our studio, who's working diligently on things. We've got Rick Johnstone, who's doing a fantastic job. Jill Devery, who's doing a fantastic job. And we all want to send out and Joe Newman, by the way, Joe Newman and many others within the WKDW family. We want to send out special love and prayers to RJ Malloy, who is currently in the hospital and recovering from some surgery. And we look forward to getting him back on his feet in the near future. Any questions, any concerns at the radio station? I am the executive director at this point, just so you all know. Promotion after promotion after promotion, and all phone calls, any concerns, thoughts, well wishes, 941-391-4663 right now. Please send anything this way. I've been taking it all, so I look forward to talking with each and every one of you and sending his love from everyone to him in the hospital. Madison, please give yourself a great intro because you are fantastic at what you do.
Great. Okay, well, first,
Great.
We want to send our love and best wishes to RJ as well, and thank you and everybody else at the station for your partnership and working together. It's always wonderful, so thank you. My name is Madison Ingalls. I'm the Deputy Communications Manager with the City of Northport. I have been here for, it's going to be 8 years in May. So I've seen a lot happen at the city. It's been really exciting. And I'm thrilled to be able to talk with you today, John.
Awesome. And while I'm doing this, the City of Northport is a very, very proud partner that we have kind of went into this together. But I've got some special shout outs. Remax Palm Realty, as I mentioned before, very special shout out to them. Lions Title and Trust, a special shout out to them. And also Hardin Insurance Group on Toledo Blade and any other sponsors. Those are our major sponsors right now, and we are looking to gain more, but we are bragging about the shields of the ones who are sponsoring us, and we're trying to shine our logo to match the shininess of everyone else's. So we're diligently working at all of those things at the radio station. And speaking of that, there's a whole lot going on with what you want to do. As what's your first topic that you'd like to dive into?
There are so many good ones, to be honest with you. There's one that I do want to shout out up top, though, is we recently launched our latest annual report. I'm not sure if you've had a chance to look at it.
I haven't.
It's a beautiful digital document that we put together highlighting everything the city's done in the last fiscal year. Anything from public works stats to first responders to, awards and accolades. Always love to talk about those. I'm sure most do. But that you can find on our website. I have a ton of quick links, John. I don't know how you want to do it, but it's all northportfl.gov. And this / annual report.
I'm doing it.
Okay, you're doing it live. All right, awesome. Thank you. But yeah, this is a great document to summarize all that we've worked on. So that's I just wanted to shout that out that we just released that in the last couple of weeks. We're really proud of it. It is award winning. So hopefully we can maybe do another repeat of that this year.
All right. So here's what we have, and we're if you're listening on the radio, we're glad you're along for the ride, and we are going to talk our way through these because one of the nice things about the Northport website is the ease of use, and we're going to talk a little bit about that within this because we're actually doing this live on the air. So all the steps are there. It's easy to get to, easy to navigate.
Mhm. Yeah, so there it is, just digitally right there. There isn't a hard copy. We're starting to move toward the digital route, but it's still, super easy to find. So, yeah, we're really proud of how it looks.
Yeah, it looks
And
great.
it highlights. So,
It looks great. So
yeah. And you can
And-
see there on that page, State of the City is another thing that I would want to highlight as well. We just did that last week at another awesome, group to work with. The Northport Area Chamber of Commerce had us at their annual meeting, where also former Commissioner Jill Luke was honored as Business Advocate of the Year, which was well deserved. But that's another thing that people can go check out also on our website. Again, it's another quick link. I don't want this to be all quick links for people to have to, wade through. But
the beautiful thing is that let's talk a little bit about the ease of use to the website. People really should be looking at that for really pertinent information. This report gives really up to minute happenings of what we've worked on all year, and then even forecasting where we're going, right?
Exactly. Yes. The website, it's new in the last, 2 or 3 years. I'm losing track of time, to be honest, 2 or 3 years. But yeah, it's super easy to use. And like you said, I know a lot of stuff comes through on social media where you can see latest updates, but there's so much in this website that I don't think is as tapped as it could be. There's a whole section for communications on how to get involved, things like that. But we also have our performance dashboards. I'm not sure if you're familiar with those, John, but we have these performance dashboards where you can check in on where the city's at in terms of different benchmarks that they set for different departments. So you can see where the city stands. So that's an awesome feature as well.
So let's go back to how to get to those performance reports.
Yes.
Because I'm actually doing this at 2 different stages here. I've got you on one and I'm working the other, but
sure. Yeah, this one would be the same website, but then that's /transparency instead.
Oh, that's a wonderful word, transparency.
Isn't it?
We get
that's something
when we talk on
definitely
the
pride
air.
ourselves on. Yeah.
So, you've been part of the city for how long?
Almost 8 years.
All right. So in 8 years, how much, and I don't want to put you on the spot to judge us, but 8 years of being part of us, the transparency, I would think you would have an idea of how much work and effort you guys put in to being more transparent than you were 8 years ago. Can you kind of talk about that?
Sure. I mean, in 8 years, even in just 8 years, technology changes. What's available to us changes. I'm not sure this whole, performance dashboard would have been available. It would be under, right there, performance dashboards. I mean, we're definitely employing more services that help to showcase even more the transparency that we pride ourselves on. This, I'm not sure even a lot of people are aware of. We try to share about it, but we have lots of things to share, right? But this is one thing. If you can click into any one of those, you can choose communications since I'm here talking to you. Sure. But you can see all the different benchmarks and things that we're striving for publicly. So people, can see where we're at and see where we're hoping to go. So that definitely has evolved in the last 8 years, because different leadership comes and goes, different dignitaries come and go, and just things start to evolve. And this is a new thing that one of our awesome people in finance has kind of taken the lead on, is these performance dashboards.
Yeah, so this performance dashboard online, just so you know, those of you who are watching on Facebook, so I clicked on it. The process within the navigation that I have through StreamYard is not allowing you to see the next steps, but there's reports there. There's all kinds of things there that you deal with to review. It's a Northport report request submitted by fiscal year. You've got Northport requests submitted by current year. So there were 620 requests last year, right?
I don't have it directly in front of me. That's
That's what it says at the bottom. So,
okay.
or a number of
I feel like it'd be more than that.
25. It was so there were 3,147 in 24. In 25 already, we're at 620.
That makes sense. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm glad I went back and looked. A year before, 23, we actually we had a good stabilization there because it was 21, 23, and now it jumped in 24 to 2347. Didn't jump a whole lot, but I got to tell you, we're not done with January yet. We're at 620. So are we on pace to kind of blow this out of the water?
I mean, it's looking like it right now from what you're
is
telling me.
So
which is great.
Would that be more people utilizing the apps and different things like that are out there?
Do you mean that number? Is that why that number's that way?
Yeah.
Well, I will say I'm glad to hear that number is where it's at, because we did recently transition to only having the web-based version of North Report. So it's great to hear that even without that app, people are still, I mean, it still should be as easily accessible as it was before. So I think that means people are, looking around their city and want to make sure it's looking the best it can be. So, it's great to see that. Absolutely.
Well, and that really tells you that the communications team is really trying everything and anything, I think. And I know that for a fact, because I've worked with all of you guys on this stuff throughout the last few years and beyond. But, trying to get the attention of the citizens through all kinds of different means.
Right.
As the only radio station here in town now, Toledo Blade, we don't have TV. We don't have a lot of that push that bigger cities do. And truly, and I know you know this, we have to start looking at ourselves as a big city. We may have a small feel, but we're 97,000. That's a big city where we're at.
It definitely is. Yeah. I mean, we were at, I think when I started working here, something around 74 or 75, I think. So
well, I moved here 25 years ago, and we weren't talking about 30,000. We were thinking about it, but we weren't talking about it.
Right.
Let alone talking about, 97,000.
Exactly. Yeah. And we're still basically like an adolescent in city years, right? Other ones out there are like 100, 150 years old, and we're just a little 65-year-old kid. So
we're a baby city taking adult strides.
That's right. And we just happen to be living through the explosive growth part, which not a lot of people, get to experience or really see. They're usually in established places that have already experienced that, but we're in it now. So it's really kind of fun to navigate it.
So I'll ask this because in your position where you're at, you see all kinds of action with the communications and the back and forth with staff and all these things. We are taking our time to address a lot of issues that we, didn't have in play 5 years ago with the resource department, the natural resource department, different things like that. That's added another. I'm sure for you, even with watching the communications flow of information, that had to change some tempo within what used to be norm is now had to restructure and become norm again for that flow. How do you feel about that transition?
About like things being added and evolving, things like that? I mean, in the line of our work, everything changes all the time. So it's, no day is the same, which is part of why I love what I do. But adding in these different departments or divisions where we've seen people send in the past, concerns or comments about natural resources. And we had arborists and we had ways to address the things, but now it's really cool to know that we have a whole division backing it up where we can address these issues on a larger scale. So that's really exciting. And I know that they're still in their infancy as a division. So they're working on a lot of cool things that I know are coming up that we can't announce yet. But, there's a lot of things in the works that are going to really make a difference, I think, in the natural resources corner of the world here. Which I know matters to a lot of people, as it should in this city.
And it does. And we are not an industrial type city. We're not even set up for that style of growth, but we do have to pay attention to multi levels
Right.
of taxable income, whether it be commercial or not.
Right.
You have to have a good solid blend to be a successful city.
Exactly. Yes.
And we've
Yes.
learned that through these shows with the commissioners coming on and discussing it, with city manager Fletcher coming on and really holding anywhere from a 1 to 2 hour town hall meeting once a month.
Basically, yeah.
Which is amazing, because if you go to, I brag about him all the time. Whether you like him or not, I don't care about that. That's not the political side of it. But the beautiful thing about him is he might be the only one in the state to take a town hall meeting for 1 to 2 hours,
Yeah.
not knowing what the topic is or what the questions are going to be,
Right.
and answer each and every one of them. You may not like the answer, but honestly, get involved. I think people getting involved with the city is a key, just like them getting involved with the website and keeping current. Wouldn't that newsletter be part of this whole process that we do each week?
Yeah. So yes, we do have a newsletter called Community. We're just recently updating it to be twice a month now.
Oh,
so
nice.
That's exciting. And that, if you want another link, well, this is just for people, even if they're listening.
The link show. I should have called it the link
really
show.
is the link. I have them all written. I'm looking at them.
Nice.
So northportfl.gov/subscribe is where you can go to subscribe to Community, or if you're interested in only Warm Mineral Springs, in only like road updates, in only parks events, you can pick exactly what you want to receive. So you're not getting bombarded with things you don't care about. You can pick what you want. But Community is great. It's newer to our lineup of ways that we communicate, but it's a bit of a wrap up of things that we've accomplished, and again, looking ahead of events that might be coming up or ordinance that might be going into place. Those kind of things are going to be in there as well. And we're also, as a fun aside, featuring, there's a Northport cookbook that we discovered that was made for the 50th anniversary. So we're featuring a recipe.
I actually remember that cookbook.
Yeah. So we're featuring a recipe out of that in each newsletter as well. I think this, you might appreciate as an Ohio State guy, is going to be a Cincinnati chili recipe. So Ohio guy.
I hope it's called the Bobcat, because that's the Cincinnati Bobcats or Bearcats. I mean,
Bearcats. Okay. See, I don't know. I'm sorry. I did not know Ohio geography.
Yeah,
I just knew Ohio.
When you're Cincinnati was always a great school, and that was always a step down. That was somebody we used to play that wasn't as strong as we were, but
got it. Okay,
they've turned a corner, just like the city of Northport.
That's great.
We didn't used to be that strong, but we are stronger now than ever.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't see us slowing down. I think with forward thinking of the current commission and past commission, the vision that staff, you talk to them a lot, but the vision everybody talks about, nobody's on the downward trend. Everybody's so pumped up about where our future is going. It's so bright. Nobody wants to really slow it down, but they do want to kind of put some guardrails up so that we're actually protecting our featured spots, our wildlife, our bike trails, different things that we have here that other cities don't have.
Right.
Is there anything you want to add into that?
I mean, yeah, it's an interesting balance, right? Because Northport, is a city of a lot of green, but many people in Northport, want more things to do. But in order to do that, we need to invite businesses to come, which may affect the green space. So that's the balance you have to strike of, satisfying all of that to make it work together. But yeah, I don't know. I lost my train of thought.
That's all right. The growth.
Get me back on track, John.
Yeah, the growth of things and how you look at it. But I think we've hit 2 of the things off your list.
Okay.
To talk about. because we
Yep.
talked about the easy use and we talked about the annual reports.
Mhm.
We talked about the links to get to those.
Yes.
What's the next one on your list that we haven't hit yet?
The next one is very exciting. So we had our first Northport University class graduation a while back, which
Yeah.
is awesome, led by Jane, who you can see holding up that heart stress ball. She's in the background with the shiny glasses. She runs it. She's fantastic. But that class went so well, and we are going to be launching registration for that Monday, a week from today. Is
Fantastic.
what we're set to do. I'm going to confirm right now, but I'm pretty sure that's another fun, fast, quick link that is NPU. Okay, I was right. Wanted to make sure before I announced it. So that's the same, northportfl.gov/NPU. So that's where you can get more information. But this is it's a citizens academy. So it would be a day a week where you would hang out at a different department, learn all about it, see what their inner workings are. And it's an awesome program. It's been at the request of the commission for a long time. We were finally able to implement it. And it's going super well with Jane at the helm. So we're excited to open up the next class.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you know what? There's a lot of great feedback coming from that too, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. And we're going to be starting to implement some things where we include the alumni and things to keep them engaged. And this kind of also ties in with another one of my things on the list is a few of them from learning about everything joined an advisory board, which is fantastic. That's one of the things we were hoping, so that you could keep engaged, keep involved with helping your city, and advisory boards do that big time.
Well, we're forever linked at this point, as long as I guess as long as we both stay focused on our tasks at hand.
Yeah.
Communication and getting communication to others.
Mhm.
Our commitment to the citizens is to work with you to get information out. And I'm not going to ask you what you think of the partnership, because we already know how valuable the partnership is. I also want you to tell them neither one of us are putting restraints on each other. As long as we're forward thinkers, we could talk negatively about projects, because you have to have conversations on both sides.
Definitely. Super important.
It is. And so this partnership that we've got really is just open dialogue with everyone talking, whether you
Yes.
are for or against something. You have the right to speak, but talk about the value of speaking up, but getting involved and being part of it, and not being part of the chatter, but the action.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we love seeing feedback no matter what it is. We have a super active community that provides feedback all the time. And it's important. We need not only the support, but the criticism, holding people accountable. That's also really important in local government. We're a public entity, so that's how that works. And then like you said, working together, having an open dialogue is all about transparency again. But I think being vocal is wonderful, and we welcome it, and we always want to see it. But we also love when people choose to show up to a commission meeting or show up to a town hall. In the past, when we've done, budget town halls or other things like that, we've had little to no attendance at those, which is disappointing to see, to be honest. We want people to show up and have their voices heard, because it matters to the staff, it matters to the commission. So we hope that people continue to voice their opinions. It's important, but also start to get involved, show up at these things, make your voice heard in different ways than maybe just on social media.
And I'm going to add this in, because if we don't have a major issue with not knowing how to present yourself, but I think we have an issue with people being uncomfortable coming to the mic. We have different ways that people can comment, whether it be, an email or getting information to staff. You talk about the other solutions you guys have worked around, so that maybe somebody who's paranoid about being on the mic at City Hall doesn't really have to do that.
Yeah, no, yeah, it is. It is scary. It's scary for me, and I work here.
Yeah.
It's scary for anybody walking up to a microphone in front of all these important people. But yes, there are. We have implemented recently in the last several years other ways to provide a public comment. We now have a voicemail option and an email option. So either the city clerk will read out the comment in full, or they'll play the live, not live, they'll play the voicemail live in the room for everybody else to listen to. And again, you guessed it, John, there's a quick link. And this one is slash public comment, if I am not mistaken, making sure I'm getting all these straight. But yeah, so we've provided those opportunities for people who, like you said, maybe A, don't like to speak in front of the camera, or in front of the microphone, or B, they're working or they're watching their kids or something's going on. You can submit an email or voicemail public comment prior to the meeting. It doesn't have to be live during it. So that's another way for people to get involved if they can't make it at that time.
There's always a voice for people who want something, and I don't want to say my minorities or the majorities. I don't want to say any of those things, because I think when people are talking, there you do listen. That doesn't mean that the larger voice that night wins, because if that was the case, I have to laugh at this, because there are some nights when the only people in the room, staff and maybe two or three citizens.
Yeah.
And I always say this: there's 97,000. The population it never shows up. We might have 100 people show up to a meeting, and it's called impactful. I call it disappointing, because there's 97,000 people.
Right.
Let's just say 30,000 of them were voters, and we got 100 people to show up.
Yeah, right.
We're still and no matter how you equate those numbers, they're still a minority, because that's the loudest. They're the majority of loud on that topic, but they're a minority when it comes down to the numbers. And you guys don't listen differently, though.
No, every voice matters equally the same, no matter what it is. Absolutely. Right. We want to hear it no matter what. That's the point of, local government holding us accountable, free speech, all of it, goes together, that we want to hear every side and how people are feeling. That means they're passionate about the community, no matter what side or how they're feeling about it. They care about the city, and that matters to us and is important to us, no matter how it's conveyed.
That's funny, because you just said their passion.
Yeah.
I've talked to people who are disconnected from politics. I hate to say it, they still have a passion for where they live.
Right.
They still brag about it. And they're the unknowing, unaware, go through life working all day, come home, and just love their city, and they're passionate about coming home. Right. So there's everybody walks a different life, and they all have a different path. And I think people sometimes they're just comfortable going through life where they are. They don't want to be a cog in the wheel. They don't want to get noticed.
Sure.
That doesn't mean they don't have great ideas. And I hope that doing shows like this and getting insight out like this, and what you guys are doing on the communication team, because we have a phenomenal communication team.
Thank you, John.
We do. I mean that, because I don't think they're ever done working at coming up with different things, different presentations out, trying to find a way to make somebody click on something and learn more.
Right.
And really, in today's society, that's really what it is. Can we get somebody to click on something and actually maybe go to a link and learn something? Take 5 minutes a day and just pick a tidbit up. That's kind of the key to successful knowledge of your city. Because
I agree.
Aren't we uploading a ton of information on our website to try to get that knowledge to the citizens?
Oh yeah. We're always adding stuff there. All the departments, across the city, no matter where they are adding stuff there. And then social media, of course, you and I are familiar. But another thing, when you were talking, reminded me, we are also revamping our podcast network. So we had started. It's just called Northport Podcast Network. If you search wherever you listen to podcasts, you'll find it. But we're going to be updating that, and it will be debuting again a week from today. A lot of fun things happening February 3rd. Also my wedding anniversary. If I could just shout that out.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But yeah, so we will be launching.
Wait, I thought the balloons were supposed to drop from above and the confetti and all
They're
that.
stuck. They're stuck, John.
Right.
I'm looking at all of them, but they're stuck. I don't have anything to pretend to throw. But so the podcast network it's going to have 3 different themes. One's going to be stories, people in the community, like our Voices of Northport podcast that we started. One's going to be about living in the city, things to do, things to see. And then one's going to be called Northport Now. That's going to be news focused. So we're going to have dedicated days for these dedicated shows. We're going to keep it consistent. So we're excited to grow the listenership with that. And that'll be just another way to share information.
Well, Jane Atkins, thank you for listening in. I appreciate you. And she says, happy anniversary. February is going to be a great
Jane's
day.
right there with the shiny glasses. She's the
Yes.
Northport University star. Thanks, Jane.
So, thank you for listening in. And by the way, if you're listening in, if you have a question, a comment, a thank you, a shout out, please put it up right now because I do share them, as you can just have witnessed.
Yes.
And I know Chuck English already loved this. So where's your shout out, Chuck?
I was gonna say, where's Mr. English at? I know
He's been awful quiet. I miss him already. So I love Chuck. We have coffee and we talk and banter back and forth. And
Yeah,
I just wish more citizens were like him and Robin and all the folks that are regulars at City Hall. Because if you really want to find out what's happening and how to do something, there are some regulars sitting in the seat that'll just kind of nudge you and guide you through. So it's kind of cool that way too.
Yes. Oh yeah, they'll definitely help you figure it out.
So talk about those relationships that you guys build within the city when actually people get involved.
But yeah, I mean, there are obviously known people that are, a great example were the ones you listed. Joan Morgan. I mean,
Yes.
come on.
Yep.
I feel like I just sounded like her. She would say something like that. But
Right.
she's been here for decades and decades, knows everything. She was on the Voices of Northport podcast with Jane, and she's still in touch, sending us ideas for future podcasts and things to do. She's always super involved. We have other ones that did that podcast as well that stay involved. But we love to see these, as you said, regulars, but that remain committed to the city no matter what. They aren't one issue people, which is also fine. There might be a thing that affects you personally or your community, and you're very passionate about that one thing, and that's great. But then there's people like you mentioned, and some others that are concerned about the city as a whole, and that's wonderful to see as well. That they're dedicated to all the different issues across the city, even if they're more interested in one specific thing. They're at everything. They're providing comments at everything, and we love that.
The funny thing is you can't change anything if you don't get involved.
Right.
And you can complain about everything because you're not involved. and it's kind of weird because it's I have a rule when voting comes around. My first question is, did you vote? And if says no, I tend not to hold a conversation too long with them because the responsibility is to vote. And it's to vote. I don't care how you vote. And I wish I could say I did, but I want everyone to vote. I wish that we could do that. And if we actually did that in our city, Tallahassee would look at Northport totally different. Sure. Looking at us now because we vote better than we ever have, and our in our vote and our voice. But it also goes down to the local level. The strength of the voters are in their voice and their vote and their power. And we just kind of went through an election and we did.
Kind of did.
Yeah, kind of did. I know to me, it feels like a year and a half ago, but it was recent November.
Mhm.
Since November, life changes for a lot of people, and mine has been on a roller coaster ride up and down.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the involvement that people should have at that level, and where there should commitment to be, and why it's so important to show your activity on a vote?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy to think that, voting on a local level doesn't make a difference. Um, but it does. I mean, I know people just think about the presidential election or, national issues, but voting on a local level is super, super important. And I know that it can seem intimidating if people haven't voted before or rarely do. I mean, there's you just have to show up with your license. I mean, it's not. I always get nervous too, and then I remember how easy it is. But we really want people to get out and show, and share what their thoughts on these issues are, because, like you said, they can really make a difference in your daily life in Northport. These things that you're voting on really do matter. They will likely affect you in some way. So you want to make sure to get your voice out there and and share what you think.
That I said that the other day, that I'm glad that people voted for the president. But if you look down ticket at stuff, once they voted for that topic, the vote kind of went away, and it further went local, it went
Yeah.
away. And it's ironic because on a federal government, yeah, there's change, yeah, there's things happening, but on a local level, it's almost immediate change that you're looking at.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of weird because people think I'm going to vote for the president because my life is going to change. Well, yeah, it might take 3 years.
Right.
But
Yeah.
you voted for somebody who's implementing things down the road, where local, you're going to feel the impact.
Yeah.
If we have a tax rate increase, guess what? It's not 3 years down the road.
Yeah. Right.
It's going to be immediate. So if you don't get involved, things slide through, and then you go, well, that I never heard about that. Well,
Right.
it's called get involved.
Mm-hmm.
Because
absolutely. Yep.
Just because you didn't get the knock at the door and get told, hey, you know what we're doing to you? This information highway that we have today.
Yeah.
It really is where they should be at the website looking at things. If it's once a year, it should be during the election, so they know what's on the ballots.
Right.
And teach yourself to go there for the other stuff, the night outs, the annual reports, all these other things that if you took 5 minutes a day and just saw what's happening in your city, I hate to say, most of these people that walk around and say there's not a whole lot happening here would learn there's a whole lot happening here.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And on that same token, kind of like voting, or, that sort of thing, is the city meetings are public. You can look ahead at the agendas. And I know I see Robin out there sometimes sharing specific screenshots from it, and trying to get feedback on that, which is awesome. But I don't think people know that they can go on there and see all the different issues that will be talked about, specifics about those issues. And then in turn, you can submit a comment however you want to for that meeting. It all kind of goes hand in hand. So, that's a thing to flag as well, that you can see what the commission will be discussing coming up.
I like the fact that you threw that in there, because not only is the city providing information, the same information they put out there gets used against them sometimes. And so it's not like you're just focused on what makes you look good. Sometimes the information out there has to come back around.
Yeah.
And it's not a negative. It is, but it's not. It's meant to do what it's doing, which is get the information to the community so they understand it.
Right.
And how do you fix a problem if the community is always in the dark? You don't keep them in the dark. You post it all.
That's right. That's right.
Do you feel like the city is working hard to? I'm going to go back to your word, because it really was a cool word that you said. Transparent. Do you think do you think the effort that you guys are putting in is really just trying to knock that transparency word down as far as you could put it?
I mean, do you mean in terms of that we're trying to
Not,
be as
not
transparent as we can?
as possible. I just get
Yes.
rid of that. Get hype the word, but get rid of the holdbacks. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. That's definitely the goal is to try to just be known as transparent, so we don't even have to talk about it. Right.
Right.
Things, yeah.
You just said it in better words than I put it, because it's such an easy word to sling around.
It is. It is for sure.
And people use that word, and they use it a lot of times without really looking or asking for information.
Yeah. Right.
And
sometimes, yeah.
It's an easy, but it's an easy cover. They're not transparent. Well, what did you do to find out? Nothing. Did you ask anybody for it? No. There are processes for all those things.
Sure. And you know what? If enough people ask about it, it will usually get to us, and then we'll share things about it. So if you take the time to ask it, that may garner enough attention to bring it back around, so we share about it.
We've got a hurricane season coming up. I'm going to sign up for a table there. We've got all kinds of things that we push content and information through different types of things, the different events that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about the effort we put there as part of the communication team?
That the radio?
That you as a city, because those events don't happen without you.
Yeah, a lot of them don't. We do a lot of the outreach, working with the local media, designing the graphics, providing photography. Yeah, we're involved before, during, and after all of those things. And like you mentioned, the Hurricane Expo is it May 21st?
Yeah, and I'm talking about it now because you know what?
Yeah.
The season can stay away longer, but that information that we need from that event is critical.
Definitely, yeah. And our partnership then, John, is super critical during the emergency, when you are able to do emergency broadcasting when nothing else works but the radio. It's super awesome to have.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited not to report any hurricanes in 25.
Yay, you heard it here first.
Wait, I already scheduled it with Mother Nature. We're going to let her take vacation this year and not wreak havoc with hurricanes. But
that's so nice.
Oh yeah, well I've got some insight there. I'm nudging everybody I can to get to the top. But when you said that, I actually got goosebumps, because the pride within that the communications, the EOC, the pride and the professionalism and the focus and the drive. I don't truly. I know for a fact people who are disconnected a little bit or connected a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't understand what I was walking into when I volunteered to do it. And all I know is every second that I was there, I just wanted to be every bit better each and every second that I was there. That's the environment that you guys created within the EOC, and I'm so beaming full of pride. Not for the radio station. That's just a nibble. I am so proud of everyone, and I brag relentlessly because y'all let me in the family, first off, and second off, our citizens need to hear our city, our staff. They're kicking butt and taking names. And they truly are focused on our safety and all of those issues. Chuck Speak is amazing. I could put down a list, and I know I can't name them all right now, but you talk about the expertise, Chief Titus coming on and engaging. I think he personally turned the hurricane because he came in and was talking about it. And he ran back down the hallway and go, wait, it turned. And I'm like, okay, we heard.
Yeah,
I did that. I joked about it because that could have been so much worse than it was for us.
Yes.
And we were so ready for the worst.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I say that on a down note because I am so thankful we didn't have to prove how ready we were.
Exactly. Right.
And
Yeah.
yet the communications team was amazing. I'll tell a story here real quick because it was the communications team that came and saved the day. It was RJ Malloy who texted me and said, "Hey, are you looking at this social media page?" And I went to it, and then I ran down the hallway and I said, "Listen, you come back down. We've got just a whole lot of misinformation happening right now, and we can put this fire out." So we I set the show up and we went live, and
Mhm.
we had like 800 people like were tuning into that because we
Yeah.
went right into the fire, and we addressed all the issues. It was
Right.
amazing. and
Yeah.
and really the communications team, they're doing so many other things within their day. What we at the station are providing with a lot of that connection out, um, I just found it to be just so enlightening and so fun to watch and be part of and know that I think everybody walked away going, "Holy crap, we made a difference with that."
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah. You were a big part of that, helping with the updates at certain times throughout the day and things like that. The last time I talked to you, I had been awake for 24 hours, and then I went on with you that morning.
Yeah, you did. You did.
I was like, "Oh, no." But, I mean, yeah, it was an awesome partnership, and our team, our city staff just do an amazing job, whether they're in the EOC or out in the field, protecting and helping people. It's just amazing to see. So,
Well, it never hurts to say thank you. And I thank you guys. I know I've said that to all of you multiple times throughout that event and after. I was pretty much the last one to leave that event because I brought so much to the event. But I I
yes.
I think I should have won the award for, oh my God, the most stuff. But
He's officially moved in. He
yeah,
might
I
still
did.
be
I kind of that closet never looked that good before. So
amazing.
I did own the closet, and
He did.
for you listeners that are going to make the joke, I came out of the closet. Yes, I did.
Oh,
I went
oh.
home. So I know that they were going to make that joke somewhere along the way, but it speaks volumes because we'd never done anything like that before,
Yeah.
and
No.
there I am finding out there are some other cities that have the capability to go on the radio, but not what we were doing, they're not doing. So it's interesting to be able to work in direct connection with the communications team during that event,
Yeah.
knowing they're in chaos, and things are ever changing and very fluid. Um,
Right.
but man, the flexibility that you guys showed during that, um, and working the whole time, and then saying, "Yep, I'll jump on." And even though hey, I'll go on now. I'll sleep for a couple hours. I'll come back, and we'll go back on again. That
Yeah. Right.
the citizens of Northport, we're going to shine that better. We're going to make it even better. I just don't want
Yes.
to practice at it. I I
Yeah.
I, I want to do it when we're just talking. I and I know you guys feel the same way, but to know that um, the emergency service staff was ready and prepared, to know that the city and staff was ready and prepared, and to know that we were putting content out that the city of Northport never had like that before.
Hmm.
That is
Yeah.
amazing. It really is amazing when you like sit back and we're not shiny. We're working together, and
Yeah.
there's just so much more to come. But it's not.
Absolutely.
It's a great partnership. I'm super
Yeah.
excited for 25 and
Me
beyond.
too. Yeah.
Um, and the communication that you guys do with changing just the links to get to things, and
Hmm.
really trying to put some energy um, behind what one would call the hardest thing to do, which is be a city this large with the only communication out a community radio station and social media.
Yeah.
And
Basically.
that's not an easy task. It's daunting.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's daunting for sure. Sometimes. But we have an awesome team of people that work so hard every day in their respective, corners with a
Nate,
great leader, Jason up top.
Nate,
So it's
I was going to say, I was going to name drop it. I didn't want him to text me and say,
beat
no,
ya.
don't do it. But
Yeah.
Jason is, he's amazing. He was the one that came down and jumped on and he graciously, let me come and get him that day because I knew how important it was to stop some of that as quick as we could, because there's one thing that we haven't talked about, and that's miscommunications out. And I'm not going to talk about the miscommunication. I'm just going to say, how much harder does it make communications when you're battling miscommunication?
So much harder, especially when we have our particular channels and then some other groups go off on something which maybe you don't see right away. We'll jump in and comment when we see it, but especially in a hurricane situation where hair on fire everywhere for a lot of people, that stuff is just churning out, that may not be entirely accurate, that we have to jump in. A good example of that, I know we're getting close to the end of the time, but
Yeah.
of that was like misinformation during Ian that a dam had broken in Northport, and we don't have a dam in Northport. But that was going, people thought their houses were going to get flooded. It was going crazy. So we had to, quick get on the defense and type up stuff and get out there that isn't true. That we don't have a dam. We don't have a dam. So
That's true. The dam didn't break.
Yeah, it makes it so much more challenging because
Yes,
we're already in the midst of messaging things that are important for the community to see, and then we need to mix in addressing the misinformation during that as well.
And we are almost at the end. I looked over and I'm like, holy cow, I told you it was going to be fast, and it has been fast. But there is one location I have to talk about because Chuck English is right. Abby's Donuts used to be the mind center. It was the place to go to have your coffee and your donut and talk to a whole group of guys that were going to change the world, or at least have a conversation about that.
Yeah, and, right.
They still meet there. They're scattered throughout now, but Abby's Donuts is still central headquarters for the think tank. And Chuck and we meet at Panera. So that's another think tank area. And it's fun to sit down and banter with them and watch everybody run because they think we're arguing. And then we get up, we hug each other, and we walk away, and we're like, "Hey, I'll
and then pull in closer so they can hear what you're saying."
I know it's fun because we walk away and we're laughing with each other because I'll go back to communications with the city, and it's pretty simple. You can be upset. Just be professional. Mm-hmm. We're halfway. We're upset with each other, but you know what we are? We're just professional with each other, and we like each other. So if you come in with that mindset, and you're addressing staff or you're addressing commission, just know they want to hear your voice. They want to hear your complaint. They're not going to badger you. Be professional and get your point across. And I'll tell you, 55 minutes here goes fast. If you don't think, what is it? A minute and a half or something like that you have, or 3 minutes?
For public comment, it's 3 minutes.
Yeah, 3 minutes, 3 right? Minutes.
Yep.
It's like, I'm going to promise you this. If you get up there and start talking, 3 minutes is going to disappear real quick.
It goes away.
Yeah. If you do like everybody else for the first time you ever did it and you're nervous, write half of the things down you want to say because it'll and then do 2 public comments. So divide it down, relax and enjoy it, and learn to smile through this whole thing because everybody wants to hear from you.
Definitely.
Chuck English, one more time. Wisdom as it relates to voting. Follow the money. And if you don't vote, don't bitch. I didn't say that. Chuck did.
That's a great closing line.
It is a great closing line. We've been on for for about 55 minutes. And I just want to say thank you for being part of the live stream. And we appreciate you taking this opportunity to educate the city and the citizens of Northport on communications and the ease of it. Thank you so much,
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. This is John Rawlings with WKDW Radio saying thanks. Have a great night. And we'll talk to you on Friday. See ya.